let's try that again. Hey everyone, my name's Gabi and this is the 2026 Hyundai Kona N-Line. Now, you've seen the Hyundai Kona before, but the N-Line, more specifically N-Line Ultimate we have here today, gets the looks, the power, and all of the tech and all of the available safety functions on this vehicle. So in today's live stream car review, we're taking a full look, exterior, interior, powertrain, you name it, we're gonna talk about it, and we're all doing it in real time. So we live stream every single weekday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as you can tell with live videos, sometimes things get a little bit squirrely, but I promise you we will give you all the information you're looking for if you're looking to buy a vehicle like this one here today. Now, we are based in Canada, and the MSRP of this specific trim level is $39,699 Canadian. That's a $3,000 upgrade from the N-Line model below it. Now, the N-Line Ultimate and the N-Line share the same powertrain and largely the same exterior look. It's going to look sportier than the other Konas. It's going to have flashier wheels. But the technology and some of the functions will really change, and I'll make sure to highlight them all in our walkthrough. Now, Adam's going to flip the camera and we'll get right into it, starting off with our front end and the exterior walkthrough. The lighting is the first thing that catches my eye on the Hyundai Kona every time I see one on the road. For daytime running lights, you're going to have it expand all the way across the front end, and it's a bright white LED. This is the first time we've seen this on the Hyundai Kona, or I should say since its redesign last year. It's the first time we've seen it in any of Hyundai's lineup, really. I think it looks fantastic, definitely adds a modern yet futuristic, modern yet retro look. It's RoboCop, that's what it is. And it is exclusive to the N-Line trim levels, N-Line and N-Line Ultimate. Your main headlamps are also full LEDs, so they're bold, they're bright, and they're white. This will also give you automatic high beam assist, so if you frequently drive in a countryside area, it'll automatically turn on your high beams and then shut them off if it senses another vehicle around you. A couple other great functions we see on the Hyundai Kona is parking sensors along our front bumper. So these circular ultrasonic sensors will give you an audible ping inside the cabin anytime you get too close to something. Great for parking if you often find yourself parallel parking or garage parking. Super helpful. Now, more specifically, if you are opting for this high-end or top-of-the-line trim level, you get an addition to just audible alerts, and that is the visual aid of a full 360-degree camera. So this vehicle will have a camera mounted right smack dab in our front center. We'll also have two on the side, and of course, our rear view camera. They all work together to give you a high-definition 360-degree view that I'll show you when we get inside the car. As far as styling goes, the N-Line is going to have a lot of dark accents. So this gunmetal finish we see here, almost in a matte semi-satin, so it's not full matte design. And then our front bumper is a gloss black. So a mix of elements, but it just flows together beautifully, really adds style to this particular trim level. Now I'm just going to get up and work my way over towards more so the passenger side, because we do have an advancement of a safety function on the Ultimate model that we don't get in the models below. So Smart Cruise Control is not standard on this trim level. We do get it lower off in the trim lineup, but we build up from that. Instead of just getting our car to slow down if the vehicle ahead of you slows down, we have navigation guidance with it too. So this is your introductory trim level to our nav system, and that will turn your Smart Cruise Control into highway driving assist. So this vehicle can slow down if the speed limit changes, it knows if there's a bend in the road or where our toll routes are, and can adjust as necessary. It'll still keep you at a safe distance, it'll still take you to full stop if you hit stop and go traffic, but it's just going to be a little bit smarter. We also get our dedicated N-Line badging just off towards the passenger side, and that is not the only bit of N-Line styling. We'll see a lot more as we cover our exterior. Now, I mentioned that we get more power in this vehicle, and I did not lie. The N-Line and the N-Line Ultimate will have a turbocharged powertrain, both of which will have the same horsepower and torque specs, so it doesn't matter which model you get performance-wise there. However, if you do like a little bit more pep in your step, the 1.6-liter turbo you'll find in these trim levels will produce 190 horsepower with 195 pound-feet of torque. That's a nice improvement from what we see on the 2-liter naturally aspirated version of the Hyundai Kona that only produces 147 horsepower with 132 pound-feet of torque. Now again, these aren't race car numbers, but this vehicle moves itself quite confidently, and it's not going to guzzle gas like a race car. Now, this vehicle, fuel efficiency wise, it does have all-wheel drive, so we'll keep that in mind, and it has about 9 liters per 100 kilometers combined of average fuel efficiency. So that's both highway and city driving equivalents combined together. If you do a lot of highway driving, of course, most vehicles are more efficient there. You can definitely see that number do better depending on how heavy you are on your throttle. In terms of transmission, we have an 8-speed regular style automatic transmission with paddle shifters, which I'll show you when we hop inside the cabin. Your wheels are probably one of my favorite exterior design elements for the Hyundai Kona. Check them out. So N-Line and N-Line Ultimate share the same alloy design. It's a 19-inch machine finished aluminum alloy. So it's not black. I don't know if it appears that way on camera. It's more of a dark gray or gunmetal if you want to call it. So it does match some of the elements we see on our front bumper, which is always a win in my books. I like seeing repeated elements. As far as your brakes go, you get ventilated disc brakes up at the front with solid disc brakes in the rear. Also with the rear, you also get a multi-link rear suspension. So a little bit better handling when you do opt for the turbocharged models. For our front, I'm also just going to point out our tires since we're already at the wheel area. We get a Kumo all-season tire, and all-wheel drive is standard on our N-Line models here in Canada. So it is equipped, and we do have a locking differential. Now, the way our all-wheel drive system works is it's largely front-wheel drive unless the car detects a little bit of slippage, or if you're launching it from a standstill, then it'll automatically redistribute some power to the rear just to help you with whatever you're doing. So it is a smart system. That's also what helps with your fuel efficiency. If it was running all-wheel drive all the time, it would consume a bit more gas. Right. Almost forgot, N-Line badge right over here. And then as far as our wheel arch goes, it's body color. So some of the other trim levels of the Hyundai Kona, you'll see a lot of black plastic molding here, and it's a matte finish. If you are opting for, let's say, a brighter exterior color or any exterior color other than black, it definitely stands out a lot. So with the body color, it matches everything else on the car, looks a little bit more sleek, definitely a lot more sporty. For our mirrors right over here, we get black painted mirror caps exclusive to our N-Line models with the turn signal indicator. And here is a small exterior difference from the N-Line Ultimate and the models below. We'll have a camera mounted right on our driver's side mirrors, side view mirrors. That will show me a blind spot view of everything happening in my blind spot live. Sorry guys, I shouldn't have said blind spot twice there. But I get a live feed, so whether that's a cyclist, if I'm parallel parking, it'll show me the curb. I can see everything happening around my car at all times, clear camera view. Super, super helpful, and we will show you inside the cabin. Your door handles will also have digital key entry as well as regular proximity entry. So as long as the key is somewhere on me, I'll simply walk up to either the driver or passenger front door, put my hand behind the handle or grab the handle, and it'll unlock based off me being next to it with the key fob. For safety, we have a lot of active safety on this vehicle, one of which is blind spot detection. So a lot of you guys are familiar with the safety function. Essentially, whenever there's a car in your left or right blind spot, that icon will illuminate to give you kind of a visual warning. It's a subtle warning. However, if I go to indicate a lane change, it'll go from just showing me the alert to also giving me some beeping or audible feedback. So a little bit more of a greater awareness. And then if I take things a step further and try to change lanes while there's a vehicle quite literally in my blind spot, it will revert me back to my originating lane to avoid a blind spot collision. That's not the only collision avoidance on this car, and I know every time I talk about these safety functions, it can sound a bit confusing, so I'll keep things pretty brief. We also have forward collision avoidance that'll warn you and take active correction if it senses the risk of a crash between you, a pedestrian, a cyclist, or another motorized vehicle. So warning first, action next, but it does do both. Along the back end of the car, we'll head back into styling, the light fun elements. We'll get full LED taillights expanding all the way across the rear, just like our lights up at the front. So what we see in the front, we also get in the back. It's not like a mullet. It's party in the front and in the back, and it's also business both ways too. A little bit of black housing for your rear tail lamp too, so it does kind of give that dark appeal, a dark effect that we also see up at the front end. The Kona badging is in a brushed aluminum, same thing with your Hyundai badge. Then the best part, in my opinion, is the diffuser. So the diffuser on the N-Line and N-Line Ultimate models is pretty pronounced. I think it looks fantastic. We have some finning there, and then our integrated backup sensors. Or I guess I should say parking sensors. So if I'm reversing my vehicle and getting closer and closer to a wall, once I get into the danger zone, it'll start beeping, but at all times, it'll still show me my camera too. And of course, in this vehicle, it's not just your rear view camera, it's the full 360-degree view. Let's talk convenience. So this trim level will also come with our lift gate. It doesn't start on this trim, but of course, it is still included. power liftgate that is height adjustable, so if you're working with a lower clearance garage or maybe you're just a little shorter, you can set it to your preferred height and then save it by pressing and holding this button here until the car beeps. The vehicle does come with this cargo cover. It's very easily removable. All you have to do is unclip it from these hooks here. Then you can choose to tuck it away under your cargo floor, or maybe if you want to keep it in your house somewhere. Totally up to you, but it's not too bulky. It's not going to take up too much space. You get a tire mobility kit. Now this is Velcroed onto the carpet so it doesn't fly around while you're driving. And essentially this is an inflator kit if you ever pick up a nail or a screw and start losing air in your tire. We have the inflator over here and then the sealant. So you plug the sealant into the inflator, then it pumps a little bit of goo and air into your tire to plug the hole while also reinflating your tire. It's not a full fix like a regular spare tire is. It's more of a patch-up kit. So you still have to replace that tire if leaking persists. All right, now underneath the floorboard, there we go. Did that look easy? Underneath the floorboard, there is a little bit of space. You could certainly put a spare tire in here if you would choose to, or if you would like to. As you can see, there is actually quite literally a donut divot, so it's meant for a spare tire. But it does not come with one. All right, let's close this up. We'll talk about fuel tank size next. So we get a 50-liter tank on our turbocharged models of the Hyundai Kona. And actually new for last year, we don't just have turbos in the N-lines. That used to be the case at the first initial release of the redesigned Kona. Now we have a sport model, which gives you more of the preferred styling with the turbocharged powertrain. And then the N-Line is where you get the sporty styling, the fun interior. The N-Line Ultimate is where you get all that plus the technology. So let's take a look at what some of that tech is. Now, I didn't mention it on our exterior portion, but we are going to get rain sensing wipers on this trim level. It's always hard to really show that because they look like regular wipers, but on the inside, you can already see we got a lot of red accents. So that's the stitching on the seats, that's the piping across the dash, even some more race or sporty inspired elements like this little checkered flag along your door sill. Lots of fun touches in the Hyundai Kona. I think this is such a cool car for someone who's just maybe a younger person, but also someone who's young and fun at heart. It's just got so much fun inside the cabin. It's not a boring or soulless cabin. All right, let's start off with our door. So the door itself, it's pretty dark, but it looks good. We do have a little bit of mixed materials here, and it doesn't feel like cheap plastic. This is actually a soft touch, almost leatherette door card here. Your door handle is a gunmetal finish, almost like a kind of satin black. It's a very, very dark gunmetal, right, Adam?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yes. And then we got our mirror controls, our window controls with express windows for driver and passenger up at the front. Your sound system is a Bose premium sound system with 8 speakers, and that is an upgrade that the N-Line Ultimate gets you. You will not get that on the other trim levels. And then along our driver knee area here, we have our brightness adjustment, our traction control, our downhill braking assist, as well as our liftgate release and our electronic parking brake. Just a warning, there is a sticker on here, so if it looks like kind of weird on the material, I'm gonna try my best to take it off, but yeah, we're gonna just keep going. Steering wheel next. I'm gonna take the camera from Adam to show you guys. This is one of my favorite looking steering wheels. And I don't know if it's because there's no Hyundai badge on it. I think that might be it. So nothing wrong with the Hyundai badge. I just like symmetry. And this is good for my brain. This is symmetrical. Symmetrical, there we go. The left-hand side is where we'll find our driver assistance functions. So I can turn on my highway drive assist or smart cruise control by pressing this button here. Set my following distance, set my speed with the plus and minus, and then set my following distance with the bottom left icon. On the right-hand side, I can turn on or off my lane following assist system. Then on the top right, I can go and change my views. This trim level has a fully digitized gauge cluster. If I'd like to change what's displayed in the very middle, that's what this button does. So I can see my trip, I can see my navigation route, as well as my lane assist, and I can scroll down if I want multiple or different views. So all-wheel drive torque distribution, your tire pressure, and then there's also a temperature gauge too, as well as torque and turbo. Pretty cool. On the right-hand side, this is more so media focused. So we got our voice commands, our volume control, our phone button, a programmable favorites button, and a media mode button. This just cycles between all your different media modes. Paddle shifters are mounted on the back, and that is tied to your 8-speed automatic transmission. Speaking of the automatic transmission, Adam, if you want to walk across, I'm just going to keep talking. The automatic is new for the Hyundai Kona redesign. So the introductory model Kona had a 7-speed dual clutch transmission if you got the turbocharged powertrain. That was a fun transmission. Dual clutches are very, very quickly shifting, or they shift very, very quickly. That's their whole purpose, their whole design. They're very efficient. But one thing with dual clutches is, especially if you're someone who drives in stop and go traffic, they can feel a little bit shuddery, a bit jittery. That is a characteristic of them, but for some people who just want a smooth, quiet, regular ride, they weren't necessarily a fan of it. The 8-speed fixes that. It's still smooth shifting, it's still quick, but it's a regular automatic, so you don't get the fun characteristics of the dual clutch, but it can still be a fun car. Let's talk our main screen next. So this is kind of a big deal. It is a fully touchscreen display. It's actually standard, this display in the Kona, but when you get to the N-Line, you'll get the integrated navigation too. So the screen size itself is standard, but not this specific software that also has the navigation. It's very easy to use, similar to a cell phone. If you drop down the top menu, you'll get all of these quick controls, change your brightness, turn off nav alerts, even turn off your display. Let's get that back though. And it's easily customizable, so if you never use your map for your navigation, you can kick that off to another screen and make it more you. And all the icons are quite large, so it's fairly easy to understand. Main thing though, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are wireless, so if you do want to use your phone for maps or music, it's all connected without a cord. Very helpful if someone else, let's say a passenger, comes into your vehicle and they want to play their music, they don't have to bring their own cord, or you don't always have to keep stuff in your vehicle. Cleans up the space. Speaking of cleaning up the space, our gear shift is now on the steering column. So it may take a little bit of getting used to if you're used to a regular lever style, but this shift by wire is conveniently placed. It's used by just tipping it forwards for drive, downwards for reverse, and the P on the center or at the end for park. Because it's on our steering column, when we take a look at our center console here, we got a lot of room for other things, like extra large cup holders and storage space. We also have quick access to our heated seats, ventilated seats, as well as our drive and terrain mode controls. So this all-wheel drive system can change based off the terrain mode setting that you're in. If I would like to put my vehicle in snow mode, oh, there we go, snow mode, mud mode, or sand mode, all I have to do is twist the terrain dial and it'll go into those select drive modes. Back into drive, there's the choice between normal or sport. Some people ask if you can be in a snow sport mode. No, if you're in a terrain mode, you're in a terrain mode, and if you're in a drive mode, you're in a drive mode. You can't be in both. It's one or the other. Alrighty, a couple more buttons we'll go over here before we go throughout the rest of the cabin. We got our climate control right up here. It is dual zone, so I as a driver can set my temp and passenger can have their own, or we can sync it up. We got our auto intensity here, and if I'd like to manually adjust my fan speed, you'll do so with this button or toggle here. Huge highlight of this climate control is the fact that everything is pretty physical. Those are real buttons, those are real toggles, so if you hop into your car and it's the middle of winter, you're wearing gloves, you don't have to take them off to make sure the screen reads your inputs. It's nice and easy. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that's a big win in my opinion. Above that, and on the topic of buttons, we have more physical buttons for our main screen. So if I want to jump to the home menu, home will do that for me. It'll take me right back. Map will jump me into my navigation map or my Apple CarPlay / Android Auto map if that's what I was using last. Then the search function gives me a quick search engine for my vehicle. So if I need to find my date and time settings, I'll type that in. First it'll search navigation, but if I'm looking for something within the vehicle, scroll down a little bit and it'll search the setup menus and I can jump right into date and time and select it from there. Your ignition is push to start, just mounted on the left-hand side of those controls. And then a quick moment for the vents. We do have some red highlights on them. The vents themselves are finished, again, in a dark, almost gunmetal material. I don't want to say full black. It's definitely a little bit lighter. And then towards our glove box, we have a small shelf before it and a little bit of a light, so ambient lighting there. You can change the light, so for whatever color you'd like, it is adjustable. And then the glove box itself has an LED inside too, so you can always see your documents or whatever you put in there at nighttime. The cabin itself is relatively dark, so the seats are dark, but we have that red contrast. The headliner is also dark, it's black. Sunroof over here, it's a wide style power sunroof, so both the cover and the glass itself will all be power controlled. You can have it open all the way, or you can choose to tilt it up if that's more so your preference. With such a dark cabin, you almost need LED interior lights, so very grateful we have that on the N-Line. Very nice. Now our rear view mirror here, it's an electronically controlled auto dimming mirror. So it does not have HomeLink built into it, but if the vehicle behind you has their brights on and it's dark, it'll automatically dim it for you depending on the lighting situation outside. Now I did say I would show you guys the full 360 camera, so let's take a look at that. I'm just going to hit our camera view button right down here. So it looks like a camera. Give that a press, and if you're stopped, you can see everything around you. Now you don't have to press that button every single time you're parking your car. As soon as your sensors pick up something, if you're pulling up towards a car, it'll automatically trigger your front camera. And the second you throw your car into reverse, this camera will come up too, except it'll be the rear one. This one's the front. So I can go ahead and change my different viewpoints. There's full or widescreen, there's a top down, and there's also this cool 360-degree view. My only complaint about this particular one here is that it's not actually matched to the car's exterior color, and it's not even matched to the car's trim level, which doesn't make sense because only the N-Line Ultimate has this camera. Hyundai, come on. It's the little things. Anyway, let's take a look at the back seats. I'm going to grab the camera from Adam one more time to show you guys the power driver seat controls. This will be the only trim level of the Hyundai Kona that has a power driver seat, so it's kind of a big deal. We got our height adjustment here. You can also change the tilt of the seat. Your backrest, recline it a bit, bring it more upright, and then you have your two-way lumbar support. I do really like these buttons here. They're very different. I actually don't think any of our other cars have this exact button style. The stitching on the seats is a red stitch, and then the inserts are a bit of a suede finish. So if you're someone who's a little bit scared of suede seats and the upkeep, I think this is a very, very gentle kind of combination to get you adjusted to it. As far as the maintenance goes, we've found that they've held up quite nicely. The outer portions here all are synthetic leather mix. You get an end stitching on the upper seat back, and then the red piping throughout the middle. That's repeated, of course, for the passenger side, but for the passenger, it is just a manual seat. We'll go take a quick look at it before we hop into the rear. N-Line badging again on our fender flares. You get the dark gunmetal finish on our bumper. These slats here are actually active air vents, so they will open and close as the car seems fit to allow for more air to flow through. Then the lower grille has a bit of a almost honeycomb, or what is that, a hexagon? Yeah, 6 sides, hexagon style. And then we get some more of our body color. So beautiful mix of materials. I think this front end looks pretty menacing. Like it's very, very sporty compared to the non-N-Line models of the Kona. So if you want a little bit more of a grown-up or aggressive style, I would definitely recommend getting either the N-Line or the N-Line Ultimate if you want all the tech. So passenger side front seat control first. You got your height adjustment here, so it is a height adjustable passenger seat, and then your backrest adjustment there. Then the bar in the bottom will allow you to move the seat on its rail, so bring it closer or further from the dash. I'll give Adam our camera so I can hop into the rear seats. I never go into the car from this side. This is so strange for me. Okay, Adam has his seat almost all the way back, so this is really good at giving you guys kind of the worst case scenario for size. So these seats are fixed. They don't recline any further. I'm quite comfortable. As far as headroom goes, I have an entire hand's worth of headroom, and I have freakishly long fingers, so that's a good hand. My knees are not technically touching, but it's definitely a little further back than I would normally like, but I wouldn't complain. I'd be fairly happy. This is a good back seat to be in. Now I'm going to move over to the middle, aka the worst seat in the house. Now, I say this is the worst seat in the house because it's obviously going to be the most narrow seat. It also has a little bit of a hump because of our all-wheel drive drivetrain, so my feet are going to be more elevated than the 2 main seats beside me. However, I do get full access to our vents. It's right in front of me. So let me get over so Adam can get a good view of them. We have 2 vents. This just adjusts the amount of airflow. You can't actually change the temperature here. It'll just be what's repeated up at the front. You got your 2 USBs along the bottom, which are conveniently illuminated, so you can actually see where you're plugging into at night, and then a little bit of storage beside it. All right, now this is what it looks like when you're sitting behind me if I was driving. Really good amount of headroom still, a lot more knee room, And then we've got a ton of room for our feet along the bottom, or leg room.
Want to share your height one more time for reference?
Yeah, so I'm 5'4", but I'm definitely taller in the legs. I'm longer in the legs. Seats-wise, the two main seats are fairly wide. Like, take a look at them here. You can see they are a pretty large seat. And we do have car seat tethers and anchors for our main two seats here. No one's sitting in the middle. You can pull down your cup holder and your armrest just for a little bit more convenience. And a nice little thing about the Kona too, maybe you caught it, maybe you didn't, there is a little bit of an extension on your window. So along your C-pillar back here, there's a little bit of extra window. So more space, more light, especially with a dark headliner. Let me tell you, I love a dark headliner, but it makes the cabin feel a little bit more cozy. Any more light you can bring in really, really does help. So that is my take on it. Let me know what you guys think about the Kona N-Line, more specifically the Ultimate. And maybe I'll do a quick rundown of everything that the Ultimate adds on when we head back to the table down there. So let's head out. Ooh, I should probably say, now height-wise, the Hyundai Kona is definitely a crossover, not an SUV. So it's not going to feel as tall as something like the Kia Seltos, but you also don't feel like you're driving a small sedan. So if you do like a little bit more of a ride height, it's great for that. As far as ground clearance goes, we have 210 millimeters of minimum ground clearance, which I believe is about, what, 8¼ inches? I think it's about 8 inches. Let's do a little search. I'm afraid to ask Siri, because then my phone might stop recording. Oh, it worked. What is 210 millimeters in inches? Yeah, so about, yeah, 8¼ inches. Okay, rundown of what the Ultimate adds on. So number one is going to be that full 360-degree camera. Secondary, we're going to get our blind spot cameras. So anytime you indicate a lane change, it shows you what's happening there. You'll also get the premium sound system, the integrated navigation, as well as the highway driving assist. You'll get parking sensors, not just on the front and the rear, but also our side sensors, which I don't think I showed, but I can show you now. When I say side sensors, a lot of people think that it's going to be somewhere like in the door or in the rear. It's actually just more towards the side of our front end. So good if you are, again, getting close to a curb for parallel parking. You'll get the camera view, but you'll also get the audible alerts. Or if you're contorting your vehicle to get in a busy parking lot. Wheels, again, they are not exclusive to the N-Line Ultimate, but they are an N-Line exclusive, and so is the badging and our front and rear bumpers and diffusers. Okay. What else? Auto-dimming rear view mirror, the ventilated front seats, and the power driver seat. So those are the main highlights of the Ultimate. And again, it's a $3,000 upgrade. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think $3,000 is worth it for those add-ons? Someone just asked, does the Kona N-Line have blind spot cameras that show in the dashboard and Apple CarPlay? So the N-Line Ultimate will be the one that has the blind spot view cameras. It doesn't show on the screen where your Apple CarPlay is, though. It's going to show you on your gauge cluster, and I'll show you what that looks like. Now, in order for me to show that display, I do have to turn over the engine, so you might hear a startup noise, but that is okay. So keep in mind, when you do have your Apple CarPlay or Android Auto connected, it's connected to this main screen here. This is your touch screen. Now, when you go to indicate a lane change, and it shows your blind view camera, it shows right over here on the gauge cluster. So even if I was using Apple CarPlay and I go to put my car in reverse, it'll stop showing my CarPlay screen and show me my backup camera. So you can't see Apple CarPlay and your cameras at the same time. It's going to be one or the other, but the car does it automatically, so you don't have to press a button to do that. I hope that helps. I like questions like that where we can give a live demo and answer it on the spot. But of course, again, if you are watching this in the future and you can't ask a live question, let me know in the comments down below, because I do check them every single day. That's my #1 favorite type of social media, YouTube Studio. I just love answering the comments. All right. JC Golf said perforated and heated seats. So they are semi-perforated. They are also heated and ventilated. So heated does not start on this trim level, but ventilated does, and it's exclusive to this trim level. I don't see too many other questions. saw people asking about warranty earlier. So here in Canada, we have 5-year, 100,000 kilometers of warranty, whichever comes first. So if you do a lot of driving and you hit $100,000 kilometers in 2 years, then your warranty's done. If you don't do a lot of driving, then you get the full 5 years. Can you live demo a 0 to 100 time on this car? Don't think I can do that in the video bay here. Live question. Say I have a small package or child in the back. Turn the car off and get out of the car. Does it warn me? So yes, it does use door logic. I think that's what it's called. That's the technical term. So if it senses that before you started your vehicle and drove off, you opened the door, whether that was to load someone up or someone else to get into the car, it'll warn you when you shut off the vehicle to check the rear seats. It's not going to say kid left in car, but it'll say, please check rear seats. There's also something called safe exit assist. I always fail to talk about this, and no one really asks about it. But if you parallel park your vehicle on a busy side street and you go to reach for the handle to open your door and get out, if it senses a car coming up in your blind spot or even a cyclist, any sort of moving thing, it'll warn you. And then if you still try to open it and it senses the risk is very, very great, it'll lock the door in an effort to get you to get out later when it's safe to do so. It's not going to leave you locked in there for 10 minutes, but it'll deploy the lock to make sure you don't, rip your door off or cause an accident or get hurt. Gabi, have you done a video on driving modes as well as the pros and the cons? I have, but that video is probably at least 2 years old now. So that was one of the things I was thinking of filming recently. So let me know if that's something you want. The only thing about filming a drive mode video is what drive modes do really depend on what car that you have. So if you have an electric vehicle, eco mode, and let's say it's an electric all-wheel drive vehicle, eco mode typically shuts off your front motor and just has power from the rear motor. But let's say eco mode and something else like, I don't know, a Kia Sorento, it's going to act fairly different. So maybe I should do drive modes in an EV, drive modes in a sports car like the Elantra N, and drive modes in a regular car. I could do 3 different videos on it. JC Golf asked, does it zap you? I'm assuming you're meaning the safe exit assist. It does not zap you. Ryan also said, we did mud mode off-road last September. Yes, exactly that. So some of our all-wheel drive vehicles have snow, mud, and sand mode. Some of them just have an all-wheel drive locking differential. So all of those are quite separate. So it's difficult because not all of our cars incorporate the same drive and terrain modes. Not all of them do the same things, but I can definitely make a video about that. The LA Auto Show must be coming around again soon. Yes, I believe it's November. I don't know if we're going yet. I'm assuming we are. I would really like to go. All right, and last but not least, what is the price? I usually mention this always in the beginning of the video, but I think it's good to end off with it too. It's $39,699 Canadian for the ultimate trim level. That is the total MSRP before taxes and fees. Now, with that being said, if you like the look of this vehicle but don't necessarily need all of the tech and the features, then there is the N-Line just below it, and that is $36,699. All right, you guys, I think that's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching and joining us live. We'll see you tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's see. Obama said zipper is down all the way down. There's something wrong with the zipper. It's not down. It just always shows. It goes to the side. I don't know. I felt like I had to answer that because I noticed it too. Bye, guys.